Pop the top, it's time for another video to drop. And today, we're going to be talking about why I prefer simulation style when it comes to professional wrestling games over the arcadey style. But before we get into that, real quick, comment down below, what is your favorite professional wrestling game of all time? Doesn't have to be a WWE game, could be any game. But nevertheless, comment down below, let me know what your favorite pro wrestling game was of all time. I'm very interested to see who and what you say, really, when it comes to that. And if you say my favorite game, which you'll find out later in the video, I may just heart and pin your comment, so you never know. But nevertheless, guys, before we get into the topic, I do want to bring up one thing real quick. Yesterday, well, I mean, as you're watching this, it might not be yesterday, but I was a part of the Deadlock podcast along with CM Pulse and Tony Pizza Guy. So if you guys want to check that out, we talk about Clash of Champions 2019, our predictions on that, among a lot of other things, like Walter wearing a lobster claw. Go check it out. It was fun times, man. Around 2.5 hours. Just go throw it on, go listen to it, listen to the Good Brothers talk, if you will. But nevertheless, getting into why I love simulation style over the arcade style. I know that that's a very, not really, I wouldn't say hated opinion, but it's definitely not the more favorable opinion when it comes to wrestling games, as I've seen. I see a lot of people, a lot of creators as well, saying that they prefer the arcade, which is perfectly fine. Like, I completely understand why. However, for me personally, I prefer the simulation-based style, and the reason for that is because I love basically showing a match in WWE 2K, if that makes sense. I love chain wrestling. I love the lockup. I love running the international spot. I love doing if and everything. I love running falsies. I love doing hope spots. I love doing everything when it comes to actually trying to make it look like a legitimate professional wrestling match. Why? Because, well, y'all seen the Vive vlogs. This man ain't really athletic in real life. So, I don't think I'm ever going to actually, wrestle. So this is going to be the closest I ever damn get. I wanted to actually do it in the damn game. And I'm pretty much to a point where I'm doing it in the game, and it's very fun. Like, like acting like, you're doing the whole professional wrestling gimmick. It's pretty damn fun. Not gonna lie. Hand was on the rope, breath. Open your damn eyes. But along with that, I completely understand the argument of why people do not like the simulation-based style, because they believe the game's very slow, it's not really fun to play, etc., etc. And I completely understand that. And I wish there was a way we could get both styles in the game simultaneously. Like, I would love for there to be like an option in the options menu where it's like, hey, do you want to play simulation or do you want to play arcade? And while I believe there's something like that in the options, it really doesn't change the way the game feels at all. And I understand from a video game perspective that, hey, an arcade style probably would be better built for a video game. However, for me personally, I just love the simulation-based style and trying to replicate like 5-star bangers on the game. It's probably one of my favorite things to do. I've been doing it for years since the 2K took over WWE games and we started getting more of a simulation-based style. And I feel like, to me, whenever I talk about the 2K series, 2K19 has probably my favorite gameplay of any wrestling game ever, honestly. Like, it's probably my favorite gameplay of any wrestling game ever. However, there's just no modes, and that's kind of the reason why, to me, WWE 2K19 will probably be forgotten very, very quickly. Very forgotten, very, very forgotten in the long run of things. There's just no modes to keep you playing, and that's what really I feel like the frustration boils down to for me. However, gameplay-wise, I absolutely love the direction that 2K went when they took over, where we got a much more simulation-based game. And as I said, man, the reason for that is just I love putting on bangers. I love simulating a feud. I love going into the game and basically just trying my best to put on realistic matches. I've even recently gotten into grabbing 2 controllers and playing as both opponents in the match and switching off offense like that. It's just something that I personally really love and I can really get invested in. And I keep saying it, I understand why people want the arcade style back, and I agree. I feel like it would be great if we could have a section of the game or an entire version of the game where it's arcade based and you just flip a switch and bada bing, bada boom, we can dive off a Full Sail if we wanted to. Like, stuff like that, like just crazy stuff, because it would be great to have a change of pace in the middle of a year, or like if you want to go back and forth during out the year. Like, that's a lot of cool stuff you could possibly do with it. And I know with the originals pack coming out for WWE 2K20, I really am curious how crazy they're going to go when it comes to, like, are they going to have any wacky moves and stuff like that. I'm very interested in seeing what the dealio is going to be when it comes to the WWE original stuff, and are we going to get more of an arcade style when playing with that area of the game, because I feel like that'd be awesome. And I'm definitely not against the arcade style of the game. However, I will say, if at any point in the 2K license we get to a point where they flip the switch completely and we just get a whole different game where it's just an arcade, basically an arcade with no smelling, no of simulation at all, I'd kind of be disappointed. But at the same time, I'd understand that this is something that a lot of people have been asking for. And I mean, who am I to say let's not have an arcade game, you know? Like, who am I to say that? I'm not anybody to say that. And I never would say that, because I feel like for all the years we've had a simulation-based game, it'd be a nice change of pace to see something different like that. Honestly, it'd very much be a nice change of pace to see something like that. And, of course, there'd be, like, I feel like change is a weird thing with people where people just don't like change, period. So, case in point, this whole uke shenanigans that's going on with 2K20. People don't like change. They're judging it very quickly without waiting for the game to come out. But I feel like with the simulation base and the arcade base, I feel like I just have to get over that in terms of, like, the change and really just find myself sinking into that arcade style of gameplay. And that'd be fine, of course, too. But I definitely do prefer simulation style gameplay, because when you get it right, oh my goodness, is it so freaking dope. And one of my favorite things to do, actually, like, I haven't really played it in a little bit, so let me not lie to you. But back when I was playing Fire Pro Wrestling World, I absolutely loved messing with the AI logic, sitting down and just watching the AI face each other. It was one of my favorite things to do for a long while. I streamed it on Twitch damn near every day for almost 6 months, I want to say. And it was one of my favorite things to do, and the joy of watching two AIs compete after I built them from the ground up and having them put on an absolute war of a match was just so rewarding and so fulfilling. I wish they would do something along those lines in the WWE games. Like, give us AI logic for every superstar in the game. Let us base our AI logic for every character that we make, because that would in turn, like, would change the complexion of the game forever, in my opinion. Because at that point, if I can sit here and just book things and watch the game be played, I don't think I'd ever, go back to playing my matches. I ain't even gonna lie to you. It'd be kind of crazy, especially with, like, a universe mode setting. That would be just phenomenal to be able to go through and give, like, a logic to what you're doing and stuff like that. Granted, WWE Games has never done that other than, I believe, personality traits when it comes to the current games. And I know back in the day on, like, SmackDown vs. Raw 2005, SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, etc., that you were able to choose your AI logic and, like, if you would be aggressive or if you're more laid back or if you're more of a grappler or a striker. Like, I remember those options, but, like, something with the depth of Fire Pro, like, hey, you can choose in Fire Pro, for those of you that don't know, in Fire Pro, you can choose that, hey, so basically, you get 100 points. And the way it always was explained to me is, think of it like a pie chart. You get 100 points, and you get to divvy up, like, all your grapple moves. You get to divvy up, okay, so I want this to have a probability of happening 30% of the time. You could do that for, like, a suplex or etc. There's just so many options like that you can do in Fire Pro World that I feel like would translate perfectly over into WWE 2K series if they really wanted to go all out with it, basically. All out on the simulation style, which that's another thing I really feel like is a weird place right now for the WWE Games franchise, because I feel like rather than going for just one sole market, for the past few years, they've kind of tried, I wouldn't say really tried, they've kind of tried to cater to both audiences, and that's fine, but at the same time, it does hinder the game in a sense, because not only do you not get a full-fledged sim game, but you also don't get a full-fledged arcade game. So then you have aspects from both, and the arcade and sim-based style don't really do that well together, in my opinion. Obviously, just my opinion. I have never seen that counter to the damn forearm, and I've been using that forearm on Nitro for damn near, I believe like 3 months IRL. That is the first time I've ever seen that counter. That was absolutely insane. I love finding new counters in this game, man. That is something that I feel like I don't talk about enough, but there's still so many counters in this game that I've yet to see, and it's awesome. But nevertheless, guys, like I was saying, the simulation-based style is something I believe could very well, like, for me anyways, it could make me just love the game even more if they would just full-fledged go all the way, balls to the walls, if you will, with that style, and just go, hey, no, we're gonna stake our claim this year. We're gonna put the flag down, and we're gonna try to go with a simulation-based game. And that's crazy that Nitro just went off of SEG only when he had resiliency. But guys, that'll about wrap it up for this one. That's why I like simulation-based wrestling games. And if you're asking me what my favorite wrestling game of all time is, more than likely I'll tell you the Day of Reckoning series. I'm not gonna lie to you. Here comes the Paint and Shut Your Mouth. Great games. However, I feel like they're overrated. I know, different topic for a different day. However, but for now though, guys, if you are new, go and hit that subscribe button because you're on the road to 13,000. If you already subscribed to that bell, so sound we upload, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And as always and forever, take it easy though, guys. Peace.